So I covered this story a bit a few episodes ago, but I got interrupted partway through and I never ended up finishing it. So I think I'm going to restart it. Um, Even though the Daily Mail is a complete slop publication, um, that doesn't mean that they could never have anything that's useful. And this article does seem like it's fairly extensive and covers a lot of topics related to this. So I think it is maybe worth reading. We'll see. So yeah, my understanding of what this is basically is that Kristi Noem, who's sort of one of the trolls of the Trump administration, one of the people out there who seems to be their whole purpose is to just say controversial stuff and trigger the libs. She's out there was out there casually floating the idea of an immigration game show where immigrants would compete for U.S. citizenship, which is just that's some like that's some like dystopian like Black Mirror uh X-Files level nonsense. Like that is beyond anything I could have ever imagined 6 months ago before this administration took office. And also, it looks so bad. How could you not? How to any sane person, political or apolitical, this is a bad look. This is a bad look. It's sort of like homeless fighting or whatever. What are you gonna pay homeless people $5 each to fight each other? That's fucked up. That's a fucked up look. So this is the same dynamic. She's been called Ice Barbie for treating her cabinet position like a TV production, but now Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is pushing for an actual reality show pitting immigrants against each other for the honor of fast-tracking their way to U.S. citizenship. It may sound like a joke, but the idea is for real and is outlined in a 35-page program pitch put together in coordination with the DHS secretary, DailyMail.com can exclusively reveal. Exclusively reveal? Who's giving DailyMail.com exclusive information? Who on earth would have interesting exclusive information they want to bring to a news publication and that would make big news? And they choose the Daily Mail. That's insane to me. Also, what's insane is that this is a legitimate thing. When I heard about this, I thought this was going to be like a a one-off comment or at most just sort of a trolling point, or maybe they even repeated a few times, but there's no actual teeth behind this and they never actually had any serious intention of making this happen. If there's a 35-page program pitch, a real program pitch, 35 pages, that means that they actually thought about this. This is actually a serious thing they're wanting to do. Nome is even offering up officials from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to tally votes for the Made for TV contest. The pitch comes from Rob Warsoff, a writer and producer known for Duck Dynasty, the A&E reality show about a Louisiana family and its hunting empire, and Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker. Wow, yeah, I really trust the guy who made Duck Dynasty to be like really respectful, to be really apolitical, to be really even-handed, to be not cynical, to not be xenophobic or racist or no, the guy who made Duck Dynasty would never do any of it, ever. Why would you ever even think? Duck Dynasty is the most progressive left-wing show you've ever seen in your entire life. The proposed series is called The American, named after the train that contestants would ride around the country, competing in regionally specific cultural contests such as rolling logs in Wisconsin. It would lead to a grand finale with the winner sworn in on the steps of the U.S. Capitol. Along the way, we will be reminded what it means to be American through the eyes of the people who want it most, reads Warsoff's pitch. I talked about this earlier when I partially covered this article, but to me, this shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what it means to be American, right? They think of American as the same as like they would think of a different nationality. So they think of a Chinese person, right? They think of Chinese culture and a Chinese person who embodies that culture or whatever. And there are certain things they can think of. They can think of the cuisine. They can think of like landmarks. They can think of activities. They can think of the language, the kanji or whatever. There's so many different things they can think of. When you think of a French person, you can think of the same thing. When you think of a Japanese person or an Ethiopian person. All of these things have very distinct cultural identities. I would argue that the United States cultural identity is inherently a mix of everything. That we are unique. The United States is very unique in that regard, in that I would class it completely different than all of these other countries that have a like single cultural sort of like identity. The United States does not have that single cultural identity. Our identity is inherently in our diversity. We are we are a country that was formed only a couple hundred years ago, and this whole continent was populated only by Native Americans up until what, the 1600s or something, 1500s. And so um, we are inherently a country of people that immigrated in large chunks. We had the Irish come in during the potato famine. We had all the English people come in at the start, in the early 1700s. We had Spanish people coming in the 1500s and 1600s. I mean, the idea that we are I think this just shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what it means to be American. And I think that's so ironic for that to be the case when they're pitching a show called The American. I think the whole point of all this is that this is all cynical, and that my gut I would I would be surprised. I would almost guarantee you that this is going to be some weird xenophobic show, and that it's not, that they're going to try and make it heartwarming, but like really, and on its surface, it may not seem xenophobic and racist, but like if you look beyond the surface level at all, it's going to be ridiculous. Warsaw, who himself was born in Canada, said, "I'm not affiliated with any political ideology. As an immigrant myself, I am merely trying to make a show that celebrates the immigration process, celebrate what it means to be American, and have a national conversation about what it means to be American through the eyes of the people who want it most." With that kind of selling, he could sell ice to an Eskimo, bro. This dude's a salesman. Tricia McLaughlin, the top spokesperson for DHS, acknowledged the agency staff are reviewing this pitch and had a call with the producer last week. She insisted Nome is yet to be briefed on the initiative. However, DailyMail.com has confirmed that Nome supports the project and wants to proceed, and McLaughlin said, "I think it's a good idea." Warsaw's project comes as Nome is wanting to showcase what it means to become an American amid the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration. She and her agency have been working for weeks to get such a project greenlit from Netflix or other streaming or cable services, such sources tell DailyMail.com. While past outreach has fallen flat, they're hoping this one has a real chance. In his pitch, Warsaw 49 expresses confidence that The American would be a commercial hit and lends itself to enormous corporate sponsorship opportunities. At the same time, there's concern among some in DHS about the possible optics of turning the plight of Americans into a reality game show, sources say. How is that not the front of your mind? Concern There's concern among some in DHS. Some I want to meet the person who doesn't have this concern, who thinks that this is just totally fine. Bro, they have their head buried in the sand. Nome is already suffering from the perception she cares more about image than fulfilling her responsibility to protect the homeland, crack down on immigration. When will Secretary Nome stop prioritizing staged photo ops and media stunts? One source asked. The focus on self-promotion is undermining our ability to deliver on President Trump's deportation mandate. We need leadership committed to logistics and results, not financial gain or reality show theatrics. As described in yeah, so the it's hilarious that the people they're quoting that are against this, or the people that they're referencing are against this, are not against this because it's a bad look and because it like uh belittles these people trying to just come into this country, but that it undermines the Trump administration. Basically, that they understand it's bad optics. They're acknowledging it's bad optics in the same way I am, but they're not saying it's bad because it's morally bad. Which I am. They're saying it's bad because it undermines our ability to practically get things done. Things I would argue are very bad. As described in Warsaw's pitch, contestants from various countries and backgrounds would be pre-vetted and arrive at Ellis Island in New York City aboard the Citizenship, a boat symbolizing a new beginning. They'd be greeted by the host, a famous naturalized American who was also born in another country. Warsaw's pitch names Colombian-born Sofia Vergara, Canadian Ryan Reynolds, and Mila Kunis, who hails from Ukraine, as possible hosts who'd greet each contestant with a welcome gift, a personalized baseball glove. Bro, Why? Oh, this is so funny. Oh my gosh. I couldn't make this up if I tried. I couldn't make this up if I tried. Contestants would then travel state to state meeting interesting Americans and learning about the history, culture, and quirks of each region. Viewers in turn will learn about each wannabe American and why they want to live here. We'll join in the laughter, tears, frustration, and joy, hearing their backstories as we are reminded how amazing it is to be American through the eyes of 12 wonderful people who want nothing more than to have what we have, the pitch reads. The immigrants would be divided into teams who'd face off in 1 hour episodes. Scenes envisaged include one in San Francisco, where the immigrants are sent down a mine to collect the most gold. In Cape Canaveral, Florida, the hub of NASA, contestants would rush to build and launch a rocket. In Hayward, Wisconsin, they'd struggle to keep their balance on logs. My laptop battery done died at the park. So we're back here, back at the abode. There would also be elimination challenges where contestants get divided into two groups. The teams would raft down the Arkansas River in Colorado, dig clams in Maine, put together a chassis for a 1914 Model T Ford on an assembly line in Detroit, and deliver mail via horseback and ferry from Missouri to Kansas. Some of this is just so ridiculous. Although there will be a clear winner who will become our newest fellow American, Warsaw makes it clear losers will have all been pre-screened for eventual citizenship, so we'll have a leg up when it comes to applying for citizenship in a more traditional way. Game prizes would be iconically American, such as 1 million American Airlines points. Not even $1 million, just a million American Airlines points. That's hilarious. A $10,000 Starbucks gift card or a lifetime supply of 76 gasoline. Imagine if you get the 10,000 Starbucks gift card and you're like begging people to buy this gift card from you at a discounted rate. Like they spent $10,000. They gave Starbucks $10,000 for this gift card, and that you could only manage to sell it for maybe 8,000. I don't know. It's just really funny to think about. The live finale would feature the train breaking at its final stop, Washington, D.C., where the winner walks to Capitol Hill for a swearing-in ceremony. As Thunderbird pilots fly overhead, a top American politician or judge will perform the swearing-in, read Warsaw's pitch. There won't be a dry eye within 10 miles. This dude could sell ice to an Eskimo. He seems like a salesman of all salesmen. He's the king of used car salesmen. Even before this latest reality TV show pitch, Gnome 53 faced mounting criticism for her penchant for documenting and dramatizing the work of her department. Yeah, is she the one that greenlit Dr. Phil going on rides with immigration enforcement people and that weird stuff that came out? I wouldn't be surprised if she's the one who's responsible for all of that. One particularly awkward photo shoot shows her wearing an ill-fitting bulletproof vest, toting a machine gun that is accidentally pointed at the head of a Border Patrol officer. In another apparent photo op, Gnome angers liberals for wearing an expensive watch while simultaneously berating suspected gangsters at a notorious El Salvador prison where the Trump administration banished some immigrants. Yeah, this is what I saw some funny jokes that were like, bro, somebody should open that door and just push her ass in there and close it. I'm 100% on board with that, bro. Open that fucking door and shove her. DailyMail.com has obtained photos showing how she has even adorned the walls of the agency offices with framed pictures showing her in rough and tough photo ops. The Wall Street Journal last month published a scathing report about her made-for-TV approach to Homeland Security. The article pointed out how just days after she took office as head of Homeland Security, she joined ICE agents on a pre-dawn raid in New York City and tweeted about it before the raid had even concluded. Insiders told the outlet that her post potentially alerted targets to the operation and ultimately resulted in fewer arrests than officials had expected. Live this AM from New York City. I'm on it. Noam posted on Twitter at 4:43 a.m. on January 28th, along with a picture of herself hopping into a vehicle wearing an ice baseball cap. Bro, there's this subreddit I see. It's called like First Responders Cringe, where it's like policemen and security guards and firefighters and those kind of people that like post these really like self-indulgent like I'm so tough, I'm out here to protect you, or I'm the wolf always protects the sheep, or like these weird like cringy them trying to be deep posts where like they'll post a picture of them like holding a gun just like this, and it'll have some caption like here to protect the people, or "Good luck getting past me," or something really stupid like that. This is giving me first responder the subreddit r first responder cringe vibes, this picture right here, especially with Christy Nome. Even if Christy Nome wasn't here, it would still be kind of cringe, especially with this dude. This dude on the right is really enjoying what he's really enjoying this photo op way more than he should. High-profile conservatives, including Meghan McCain and Megyn Kelly, have torched the DHS secretary for her repeated photo ops in recent weeks, arguing that her desire for attention serves as a smokescreen to distract from the fact her agency has so far failed to fulfill Trump's central campaign promise to deport millions of illegal immigrants. We are doing this right. I feel like I need to read it. I'm gonna get it. You know what, Christine? I'm so ridiculous. I'm just gonna read it in Trump's voice. We are doing this right. We are doing what President Donald Trump promised the American people, making our streets safe. This is AM from New York City. I'm on it. Within her own department, some reportedly view her as little more than a spokeswoman or face of the operation. Yeah, my understanding is that she is the administration's immigration troll. Stephen Miller is sort of their economics troll. He'll come out and say really trolly economic things that are really stupid, just to trigger the libs and piss everybody off and be a distraction from the actual more benign bad things they're doing. Kristi Noem is the immigration version of that for this administration. She is out there pretty much exclusively to trigger the libs, to troll, to say insane stuff, and to distract from the more benign but also horrible things that are going on at the exact same time. Noem introduced herself to her new workforce by walking on stage at a town hall meeting to the country song Hot Mama, insiders claim. Since then, she's made a series of changes which have ruffled feathers within the department, from pushing voluntary staff exits to implementing the use of lie detector tests to root out disloyal staff and leakers. That shows that to me, there's so many things that would indicate this, but if none of the other more surface level things have not indicated that she is a bad faith actor, that she's an insane person, the fact that she thinks lie detector tests, she's giving her staff and people in the department lie detector tests as if that is an indicator of anything is just this satire is dead. Satire is fully dead. In spite of the criticism, the administration's border policies have delivered some success, with illegal crossings down to the lowest point in decades. Okay, so that was the whole article. I thought there was more to this. Okay, yeah, so this is like beyond right. If you would have told me 10 years ago, if you would have told me during the first Trump administration that the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, would be advocating for making this like really cynical, I would argue inherently racist, or maybe not inherently racist, but like this very weird game show idea that like takes advantage of the illegal, the controversy around illegal immigrants right now, is just so ridiculous. And like this is one of those things where it goes well beyond being just like this goes beyond something that you should be mad about, right? This goes full horseshoe back to just being hilarious. This is so ridiculous. It's hilarious. How can you not laugh at the concept of this? It's disgusting. Don't get me wrong. Like this is based on so many wrong things, but um I'd be wrong I'd also be lying to say that this isn't hilarious. Like this isn't hilarious in the sense that this should be satire, right? That this is just so beyond the realm of what I think is reasonable, what reasonable minds would advocate for and what reasonable minds would want to do. This is so far beyond that. It's really funny, honestly. This is so crazy. I would guess that this I don't know, man. I would say I don't think that this is going to actually pan out, but like knowing this administration and where the Duck Dynasty falls within the context of this administration and the modern Republican Party and MAGA and whatnot, it would actually not surprise me one bit if this thing ends up happening. And furthermore, if I don't know how far in the pipeline this is, so I wouldn't make a statement like I'd be surprised if it didn't happen, but I would not be surprised if it happened, and I would not. And I almost guarantee you that anybody who's taking part in this is a bad faith actor, is not a good person. Whatever judge, whatever high level politician they get to do the swearing in on the steps of the Capitol, whatever at the end of the competition for the winner, is that whoever says yes to that is should not be taken with any level of seriousness whatsoever. Um, at all. And any Democrat that would go along, or any independent, or anybody who I would ostensibly think is maybe more sane than this, and should be above this, ends up actually going along with this, they should be kicked out of politics completely. They should be canceled from politics because it's just unacceptable to actually be on board with this. Completely unacceptable. And it's just so funny too. What the heck? Just read this article title, bro. Satire is dead. Ice Barbie Christy Nome is backing insane reality TV show where immigrants compete for fast tracked citizenship. This whole, bro, this could be an Onion article 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 100%. Now, what does the Onion even make anymore? Is the Onion out of business? I think most satire publications are legitimately out of business at this point, or like they have to be trending towards being out of business. Or maybe they just transition into being an actual news site. That would be a really funny transition for the Onion. If they came out and were basically like, hey guys, satire is dead and we can't do satire anymore because it's too close to what's actually happening. So we're just going to start reporting on what's actually happening. That'd be really funny. I would totally, I would love to, I would start reading the Onion all the time then.